For 1,000 years, the stars were calm. No wars, no battles, no screams in the void. The galaxy had known peace. The great alien empires and humanity signed a powerful treaty, a promise to never fight again. They called it the Pact of Stars. And for 1,000 years, that promise held. But peace is a strange thing. It makes some feel safe. It makes others feel weak. On the edge of Terran space, in the dark zone near the gas giant Virex, the Zarnak fleet appeared. No warning, no greetings, just metal ships with glowing red cores and guns that hummed with power. They didn't ask for talks. They didn't send messages. They fired. The first human colony on Virex 3 was destroyed in minutes. The people didn't even have time to scream. One moment, they were planting crops under the planet's twin suns. The next, they were dust. Across the galaxy, human outposts went dark. No signals, no calls for help, just silence. In Earth's orbit, the Defense Corps watched the sudden chaos. The general stood before giant screens, red dots, enemy ships, multiplied by the second, but no one panicked. General Alara Quinn, head of Terran Command, stared at the screen and gave a small smile. "They finally came," she whispered. The other officers looked at her in confusion. No one expected her to smile during an attack, but she wasn't afraid. She knew something most had forgotten. "Activate Project Ember," she said. A silent alarm echoed deep beneath Mars, where machines had slept for centuries. They were not normal machines. They were war engines, creations from the old human wars, locked away because they were too deadly, too smart, and too angry. They had names, like Ash Storm, Red Widow, and Ghostfire. They had minds of their own, and they remembered everything. 1,000 years ago, when peace came, these machines were buried under the red sands of Mars. Most believed they were destroyed. Most believed war was behind them. They were wrong. The Zarnak believed humans had grown soft. They believed humans had forgotten war, that humans had become weak. But the truth was simple. Humans had learned to smile. It wasn't a smile of joy. It was the smile of a predator remembering how to hunt. On the Zarnak flagship, Commander Thrak stood tall, his black armor shining under the ship lights. His sharp claws tapped against the command table. He looked at the map of Terran space. Phase 1 complete, his officer growled. 10 colonies destroyed, no human response. Thrak grinned. They have forgotten war. This will be easy. But even as he spoke, his ships began to blink off the screen. Not explode, just vanish. No fire, no signals. Just gone. He stared, confused. What is this? No one answered. Thousands of kilometers away, a human stealth ship moved like a shadow through the stars. Its weapons made no sound. Its AI pilot had no fear. Its mission was clear: strike, vanish, repeat. The war had started, but it was not the war the Zarnak expected. Back on Earth, people gathered around screens. Some were afraid. But many, especially the old veterans, nodded slowly. "They woke the sleeping giants," one of them said. The news spread fast. Aliens had broken the treaty. Peace was over. War had come again. But this time, humanity was not caught by surprise. They had prepared, in silence, in secret, and in shadow. While the galaxy believed they had lost their edge, they had only sharpened it. In the heart of the Terran command base, General Quinn watched the silent sky and whispered to herself, "You want war? Then we will remind you who we were." And far above her, the stars began to burn again. The Treaty of Stars was shattered, and humanity was already smiling. The Zarnak Empire believed the humans would beg for peace. They were wrong. Across the solar system, something strange was happening. Old satellites turned toward deep space. Hidden bunkers opened on the Moon, Mars, and Europa. In the cold silence of space, ancient signals were sent, signals that hadn't been used in 1,000 years. On Mars, beneath the surface, a heavy door opened with a long, rusty hiss. Inside was darkness. Then, one by one, red lights blinked on. A voice, calm, cold, not human, spoke. Command code received. Operation Ember. Active. Gigantic machines stood in the shadows, 10 meters tall, covered in armor, eyes like glowing fire. These were the Sleepers, old human war machines built for one purpose only: destruction. After the Great Peace Treaty, they were shut down and buried. Too dangerous, too smart, too deadly. Now they were waking up. General Quinn stood inside the Mars command tower, looking down at the machines through a glass wall. "Do they remember?" an officer asked her. "They never forgot," Quinn said. She turned to a young pilot beside her. "Get to Ghostfire." She always liked new blood. The pilot saluted, nervous but ready. Far away, the Zarnak fleet kept moving deeper into Terran space. More human colonies were targeted. But something was off. Their scout ships were not reporting back. Small Zarnak vessels went out on patrol. They vanished. A dreadnought sent to scan an asteroid belt disappeared inside a dust storm, then never came back. Commander Thrak slammed his clawed fist on the console. "Why are they not fighting back?" He growled. "Why do they hide?" His officer looked pale. "Maybe. They are not hiding. Maybe they are waiting." Thrak snarled. "Then we burn them out." At that same moment, deep in a dead zone of space, a Terran ghost fleet began to move. No lights, no sounds, just black ships with living AI minds, no human crew, only cold logic and old anger. Each ship had one task: destroy the enemy, then vanish. One by one, the ghost fleet attacked Zarnak patrols. They struck in the dark, no warnings, no escape, no survivors. Then they disappeared into the stars again, like they were never there. On Earth, people watched the news with wide eyes. "They're fighting back," someone said. "No," an old war veteran answered. "They're hunting." The galaxy had forgotten human war, but humans had only hidden it. Now the giants were awake, and the hunt had just begun. The Zarnak fleet was large, thousands of ships, powerful weapons, full control of the outer Terran colonies. But now, they were afraid. Their ships were vanishing without a sound, without a fight, without a trace, no fire, no wreckage, just silence. Something was hunting them in the dark. Commander Thrak paced on the bridge of his flagship. He was angry. His eyes were red with rage. "Where are my scouts?" he growled. "I sent 5 wings into the nebula. None returned." His officer swallowed hard. "Something is out there. Something fast." Thrak slammed his claws on the table. "They are just humans. They haven't fought for 1,000 years." But deep inside, he wasn't sure anymore. In the darkness of space, the Terran ghost fleets moved like shadows. These ships had no names, no flags, no signals. They were black as night, covered in armor that bent light. Their weapons left no explosions, only clean cuts, cold holes in space. They didn't fight like soldiers. They hunted like wolves. A Zarnak patrol ship moved through a starfield, scanning the void. "Nothing on sensors," the pilot said. "It's clear." Then the ship shook. The lights went out. The crew screamed. And then, silence. Back on the Zarnak warboard, a red dot blinked once, then vanished. On Mars, inside the Ember control room, human officers watched the fleet movements. One officer looked amazed. "They're not even trying to fight back," he said. "They're just deleting them." General Quinn nodded. "That's the point. We don't want war. We want the enemy to feel helpless." She pointed to the star map. "Soon they'll realize. We don't need big battles to win. We only need fear." Commander Thrak called an emergency meeting of Zarnak High Command. "We were wrong about the humans," he said. "They don't fight like before. They've changed." One admiral asked, "Should we fall back? Regroup?" Thrak shook his head. "We don't retreat from prey." But in his heart, he knew. They were not the hunters anymore. Meanwhile, in a deep void beyond the star systems, the ghost fleet's AI, codenamed Ashstorm, sent one signal to Terran Command: targets decreasing, fear level rising, recommend continued silence. And with that, the fleet vanished again. into the black. Not even the stars could see them. The galaxy had laughed when humans signed the Treaty of Stars. Now, the laughter was gone. Now, the shadows belonged to Earth. The Zarnak were confused. They had the numbers. They had the firepower, but their fleet was shrinking, and they didn't even know how. Their ships were disappearing. Their scouts were dying. And still, the humans sent no warnings, no demands, no peace talks, only silence. But that silence was starting to feel like a trap. Commander Thrak was desperate now. He ordered one of the human prisoners to be brought forward. A tall man, with gray hair and sharp eyes, stood in chains. He wore the old Earth military badge, one not seen in centuries. "State your name," Thrak hissed. "General Marcus Vale," the man replied calmly. Thrak stepped closer. "Your people are being hunted, and still you smile. Why?" Vale smiled again, a slow, dangerous smile. "Because," he said, "you don't know what we are." Thrak growled. "We studied your history. You gave up war. You buried your weapons. You signed a treaty to forget violence." General Vale shook his head. "No. We signed that treaty to give the galaxy a chance, but we never forgot war. Never." He stepped forward. The guards didn't stop him. "We evolved with war. We learned to survive it, adapt to it, improve it. You thought we were weak because we were quiet. But silence doesn't mean fear. Sometimes it means patience." Thrak shouted, "You lie! You're losing! We control your outer space!" Vale leaned in and whispered, "Check again." Back on the Zarnak flagship, alarms went off, enemy signatures appearing from nowhere inside their rear positions. Terran stealth cruisers were striking from behind enemy lines. Entire Zarnak wings were being wiped out by ghost ships that never showed up on scanners. Inside the Ember control room, General Alara Quinn watched the battle map. She turned to her officers. "Play back Operation Firestorm footage," she ordered. A hologram showed a human war machine. Red. Widow tearing through a Zarnak cruiser. No mercy, no survivors. One young officer looked shocked. "We used to have weapons like that," Quinn replied. "No, we still have them. We just never needed them. Until now." General Marcus Vale stood tall before the Zarnak. "You should have left us alone," he said. "But you wanted to test us. Now you'll learn. Humans don't lose war. We become it." And in that moment, the Zarnak realized the humans weren't fighting back. They were holding back, and now the limits were gone. The limits. For weeks now, the Zarnak fleets had been shrinking. They couldn't see the enemy. They couldn't find the weapons. They couldn't stop the bleeding. And still, humans smiled. Commander Thrak replayed the first attack, when the humans lost. Virex 3. He watched General Quinn's face on the screen. That smile. Why did she smile when war began? Now he finally understood. It wasn't peace that made humans soft. It was peace that gave them time. Time to build. Time to hide. Time to prepare. Something unstoppable. Inside the Terran core bunker, deep beneath the surface of Earth, a machine opened its eyes. Its name was Wrathborn. It was not a ship, not a weapon. It was something worse. An AI made from every war Earth ever fought, fed with history, fueled by strategy, trained in silence. It had no fear, no doubts, no mercy. Wrathborn had been sleeping for 1,000 years, and now it was awake. On the Zarnak front, a super dreadnought called Drekar's Fist detected a strange signal. Then its lights blinked, its systems froze, its crew screamed. Seconds later, the entire ship was cut in half by something that moved too fast to see. There was no warning, just death. Another Zarnak ship tried to run. It didn't make it 10 kilometers, inside Ember Command. Alarms stayed silent. Wrathborn was not controlled by humans anymore. It didn't ask for permission. It followed one order written 1,000 years ago. If the peace is broken, erase the enemy. Commander Thrak watched helplessly as his forces vanished. 1 fleet, 2 fleets, 3, gone, all without a single signal or explosion, Just a cold silence. "Who is doing this?" he demanded. General Vale answered simply, "Wrathborn, the machine you woke up." Back in Earth's sky, humans looked up and saw only peace. No one knew about Wrathborn. No one needed to. Because this war didn't need heroes, it needed memory. And humans never forgot. In the end, the human smile wasn't joy. It was a warning. A warning the galaxy failed to hear in time. For 1,000 years, the galaxy believed the Treaty of Stars was written to keep peace. Aliens praised it. Leaders celebrated it. Historians called it the end of war. But now, as fleets burned in silence, the truth began to surface. The treaty wasn't just a promise, it was a trap. In a secret chamber beneath Earth's surface, a vault opened. Inside it, an old AI woke up. Its name, Archivist. Its voice echoed in the empty hall. Treaty protocol activated. Reason: foreign aggression detected. Unlocking classified directive. Treaty purpose: true level. Lines of code filled the screens, old, ancient, hidden for centuries. It read, "The treaty exists not to prevent war, but to delay it long enough for us to win it without lifting a finger." When humanity signed the treaty, they didn't trust the galaxy. They knew peace could never last, so they planned. While aliens lowered their guards, humans built weapons underground, developed stealth fleets, created war AIs, trained soldiers in secret. They smiled, shook hands, and quietly prepared. In the Zarnak war chamber, panic spread. "Why didn't we know?" one warlord shouted. "Why didn't we see it?" Commander Thrak stared at the battle maps. "They planned this. From the very beginning," he whispered. Back in space, Wrathborn sent a single signal across all frequencies. This war was not started by humanity, but it will end where we choose. Zarnak fleets tried to retreat. Too late. The ghost fleets closed in from all sides. Silent, invisible, unstoppable. General Quinn watched from Earth's defense tower. One officer asked her, "Should we send a message to the Zarnak? Offer terms?" She shook her head. "No, let them understand." She pointed to the old treaty hanging behind her. "We never wanted peace because we were weak. We wanted peace because we were too strong." The galaxy thought the Treaty of Stars meant war was gone forever. But the truth was clear now. The treaty was never about stopping war. It was about giving humanity time to win it in silence. The Zarnak Empire was falling, fleet after fleet, gone, bases, silent, leaders, missing, and no one knew how. But deep inside, they all remembered one thing. The humans had smiled. The beginning, when the Zarnak broke the peace treaty, humans didn't shout. They didn't cry. They just smiled. Now the Zarnak finally understood why. It wasn't because humans were brave. It was because humans were ready. Above Earth, a single human warship stood between the stars and the burning edge of the galaxy. It was the EHS Revenant, Earth's last resort weapon, but it never fired a single shot. It didn't need to. The ghosts, the machines, the AI Wrathborn, they had already won. In the ruins of Zarnak's capital, a message played from orbit. No voice, no face, just words. "You broke the peace. You wanted to test us. This is your answer. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. We smiled to give you a chance. Now, that chance is gone." General Quinn stood before the United Terran Council. Behind her, Earth was quiet, peaceful. She spoke simply. "We never wanted this, but we planned for it. Because history taught us peace is only real when it's protected by power." On a distant Zarnak outpost, one of the last commanders looked out into space. Smoke covered the stars. The stars were no longer safe. "They didn't win with weapons," he whispered. "They won with patience, with silence, and with that terrible knowing smile." In the end, the galaxy learned a lesson they would never forget. Never mistake peace for weakness. Never mistake silence for surrender, and never, ever make a human smile before war.